look at this. You know who that is? That's Charles Krauthammer. He's as right as the righty they get. He's very conservative. And he wrote this, The Road to Single-Payer Healthcare. And so I'm just gonna skip to the end of the article because he talks a bunch of bullshit about Obamacare, but then he ends up by saying this. He says, Obamacare may turn out to be unworkable, indeed doomed, but it is having a profound effect on the zeitgeist. It is universalizing the idea of universal coverage. Acceptance of its major premise that no one be denied healthcare is more widespread than ever. Even House Speaker Paul Ryan avers that our goal is to give every American access to quality, affordable healthcare, making universality an essential premise of his reform. A broad national consensus is developing that healthcare is indeed a right. This is historically new and it carries immense implications for the future. It suggests that we may be heading inexorably to a government-run single-payer system. It's what Barack Obama once admitted he would have preferred, but didn't think the country was ready for it. It may be ready now. As Obamacare continues to unravel, it won't take much for Democrats to abandon the Rube Goldberg wreckage and go for the simplicity and the universality of Medicare for all. Republicans will have one last chance to try to persuade the country to remain with a market-based system, preferably one encompassing all the provisions that, for procedural reasons, had been left out of their latest proposal. Don't be surprised, however, if in the end, single payer wins out. Indeed, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if Donald Trump, reading the zeitgeist, pulls the greatest 180 since Disraeli dished the wigs in 1867 by radically expanding the franchise and joins the single payer side. Holy effing F. Are you kidding me?
You know what?
Even Democrats won't say that shit. Lefties aren't saying that stuff. Only Bernie Sanders will say that. And that's as right as righties get. And he just said it's inevitable. But we can't even get Nancy Pelosi to get on board. We can't get Tom Perez to get on board. What do you want to say?
No, I agree with Charles Krauthammer.
Me too.
I think he's totally right, and he nailed it. He said the country is all talking about universal health care, and everyone, left and right, is seeing it as a human right that we should all have. And the last ones to catch on to this will be the Democratic establishment politics.
Yes, yeah.
Because
right wingers are catching on.
Yeah,
before
right
the
wingers are saying it, and Hillary just recently said, "You will never, ever, 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 ever have universal health care. It'll never happen."
Single payer will never come to pass.
Yeah, it'll never come to pass, right? So the amazing thing is that whether it's Trump or some other Republican, actually will do it and get credit for it.
Well, the thing, and I keep trying to look for silver linings because as that last story, I'm pretty, we're all bummed. Like if we don't have a civil war or you don't are in a third world war with Russia, and all these other horrible things that are happening, if we do get through this, maybe it'll be stuff like Americans, some people that voted for Trump realizing that, hey, you know what, we do need healthcare for all. Maybe Obamacare wasn't perfect, but they saw what happens, what could potentially happen if it's taken away. And if that's what happens, as he talked about in the article, the zeitgeist, if all Americans, middle of America, whatever, red state go, oh, you know what? Maybe healthcare is a right. If that's what we get out of this, if we're still alive, if we haven't fractured off, or we're not at war or whatever, if that's what happens is that we start to, all these things that have been all pie in the sky and all this crazy shit, actually people go, wait a minute, everyone deserves healthcare. You shouldn't have to have a GoFundMe for your surgery.
No, that's exactly right. And I think Jimmy showed this on one of his shows where Bernie was talking to some, Southerner who is a Trump voter, and that guy said every American, he said every American citizen should have access to healthcare, or not just access, but actually get healthcare.
Yes.
So yeah, it's if Trump voters are saying it and Charles Krauthammer is saying it, yet Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton can't say it as theoretical leaders of the Democratic Party, wow, we have a real problem there.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip of Aggressive Progressive, why not become a member of the TYT network and you can watch the whole hour. We do a show every Thursday and then you can watch it live when it happens as a member, or you can watch it later at your convenience because you get access to the podcast of Aggressive Progressive and other ways to get a hold of it. There's lots of stuff. Come become a member at tytnetwork.com/join.